Welcome to Just Got Played. This is your boy Jim Jam JJ here, and I got another review video for you. This time I'm going back and reviewing my father's work. I know I was supposed to do it a long time ago, but here we go again. I played it a few months ago, 4-player. I had played it 2 times, 2-player, so I want to do a full review this time around and give you my pros and cons, but first we'll do an overview. Here we go. So if you haven't watched the How to Play on My Father's Work that was done earlier on our channel, I'll give you a quick overview. Basically, you have your estate when you go into town. As you can see here by the Village Chronicle, there are different areas in town that you will go to pick up resources to complete your father's or grandfather's or great-grandfather's experiments. You have simple experiments that you will need to do, and then you will have a family legacy experiment, which will be some crazy power, immortality, teleportation, yada, yada, yada. And you will have the course of the game to complete that final experiment for a bunch of victory points. Everything is about victory points. Shocker. So the game takes place over the course of 3 generations, each containing 3 rounds. So during that time, you have to try to not be creepy and not go insane while picking up body parts and animal parts out of the village cemetery or where have you, the butcher or however it is, and bringing that back to your estate so you can conduct your experiments. The overall mechanics of the game are a worker placement and resource gathering, but what is unique about My Father's Work is that it is completely app driven. At the beginning and end of every generation and at the beginning and end of every round, you will have to consult the My Father's Work app. In the app, it will tell you the filler story behind the whole campaign of the game that you will be playing on, and also tell you how to set up each generation and or round. So be sure to consult the app every single time you are done with a round, just so you make sure you get everything correct. Now, if you want a deeper overview into how the game is played, please consult our How to Play that was uploaded earlier on the channel. But for now, here are my pros and cons. So for my number 1 pro of the game is that the game is very story driven, and it also is very nice because each game is going to be almost completely different than the last game. You have 3 scenario boxes that give the overall theme of the story, plot of the story, as it were. And there is a bunch of, as you can hear, there are a bunch of different elements in each box. I'm not going to spoil those for you now, just so you can be excited. I've played a few games of the Fear of the Unknown and A Time of War. So I know the components, they look very nice, as do the regular components, but the story components look very nice as well. So there's a lot to go in there, and I tried not to spoil it because it says in the rulebook to only grab the things you need for that specific story and gameplay. What's nice is in the app, it does record the campaign that you went through, so you know, so it will unlock different scenarios for you later on. So you know, that implies that the more you play the game, the more scenarios you'll have unlocked. I don't remember if they said that during the Kickstarter, but it was nice to find out once I got a game completed, that it was unlocking more stories for next time. That way you are starting with the overall theme from the main box, but you do get a chance to have a slightly different story the next playthrough. And your decisions will, in the game, is kind of like choose your own adventure. Your decisions will change the game by the last generation, could change it very drastically. Be sure, I will say this again, I cannot say this enough, be sure to always consult the app before and after a generation ends, and before and after a round. Before and after a round. If you miss one thing from the app and you didn't put it into the game, you will just thoroughly mess your whole experience up. I just say this from basic, just from experience myself. So with that, that's my main pro. That's overall my favorite thing about the game. It is very story-driven. Choose your own adventure. It's going to be different every single time. You know Jim Jam, he likes his replays. So another thing that's also very close to number 2, almost my number 1, is it's very easy to play. Once you explain it to everybody, the overall game mechanics and how it's going to work is very easy to play. Had somebody, a preteen, playing one of the games, and she understood it very quickly. The story part of it was probably a little too much for most people. I know I have the ADH, not the D, just the ADH. So paying attention to everything while somebody had to read the story was very long. but the overall gameplay was very easy. I will just say, as somebody that's taught the game a few times, teaching the game and actually playing the game are going to be very, very simple and very quick. The most part of it, at least 50% of it, is going to be just telling the story and reading the story and everybody doing their special secret things that they can only see and then making a decision there. That's going to be half, if not more than half of the game. And another pro of the game is that all of the pieces look very pretty. This is what caught me very much hook, line, and sinker during the Kickstarter. I saw all the pieces for the game, little bottles and little trinkets and everything, and actual metal coins. I always like my metal coins. And then it actually has the gears, the animal parts, and the human parts are very good wood. And they have like it's not even a sticker, it's like heat press, little accents to them. And then the cubes are very nice, very good plastic. Along with everything that's in the actual campaign boxes. The estate upgrades look very good. You can't see it because it's kind of blurry, but it's very good cardboard. You saw during the unboxing. I enjoyed that very much. So once again, the game pieces are very pretty. That's a very close third in my book as far as a pro. And I've seen people, I don't know if anybody painted the human pieces and the animal pieces, but the bottles I've seen very much decorative. You can actually put stuff on there because that is actually a bottle with a cork on it. So opens up for all the different customization aspects of the game. And they're just very sturdy. It's a very hard plastic and not a glass. So that's very good as well. So if you drop it, it's not that big of a deal. All the other cards are very good. I always sleeve my cards anyway, but still, I like that the actual cards look pretty and the artwork on everything is very nice. The actual player board is a very hefty, solid player board, and everything is inset. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to figure out. There's a little place in here so it doesn't move around too much. And then the actual journal has inset pieces as well. So everything looks very, very pretty in this game. So even if you just sitting there listening to the story, you have a lot of nice stuff to look at. So that's pretty much it for my pros. Now, I'm not one to crap talk on the game, but I do have some cons. So overall, very good game, but I do have some cons that I'll tell you now. Okay, so very much con I knew going into it. Having read the Kickstarter, there was very, spoiled ahead of time, and I knew it going in, and just from reading everything and having played board games for a while, I knew this game was going to be very long. It is a table hog as well, so if you're going to play a game of My Father's Work and go through the whole game, you're going to be in for a long session. Even with 2 players, it's going to be 4 or 5 hours. So at 4 players, everybody moved pretty quickly, so the actual turn didn't take too much longer between a 2 and a 4 player, but still the story's still there. So as far as the player count, you're not going to shorten the game any more or less having less players. That's one thing I did notice. So it's kind of a pro and a con, but yes, this is a very long game. So be ready for a 6-hour campaign, especially if you have any, slow readers or anything, or people have analysis paralysis, can't make a decision real quick. You're in for a longer game. It is capped at 4 players, so that's pretty nice, but it is not much difference between 2 and 4 players, just to let you know. It is also, with the app being a driving point in the game, high upkeep in between rounds, because as I said, you have to consult the app before and after each generation and before and after every round, every round. Do not forget that. I'm just saying this now, which is probably my biggest gripe. My biggest con is that in the app, once you make a couple decisions, you can't go backward. I don't know why they did that, but that is still my biggest gripe, because if you do miss something and you click the next button too many times, you can't go back. You just can't. The only way would be to start the whole thing over and make the same exact decisions you made before, but then that gives some secrets away. So if you're in the 3rd generation and you skip it going into the 2nd round, you're kind of screwed. So I don't know why they did that for the app. It's very annoying, but I wish there was a back button. At least I've been playing on the mobile app. Haven't tried the web browser app yet. So we'll see about that, but there's no back button, which drives me insane. One thing, please, developers, just change that. Also, another thing with the app, not as big as a gripe as this, is that lets you choose a voice to narrate the story, but then there's very little narration, so you end up having to read a lot of it. So I know from myself, didn't even make it to the second round of the first generation, and the reading went away, the narration went away. I don't know why you would choose a voice if it doesn't even work. So hopefully that's a minor thing that they've been working on, so it will be upgraded in the future or updated. And another thing also, because it is app driven, there's literally zero playability without the app, so you will need an internet connection, because I couldn't see in the app a way to download a whole scenario. So if you don't have internet connection, you're kind of screwed. So this is not like a game you can take to the cabin for a weekend and have not going to work unless there's some way, maybe on the web app, that you can download it onto your computer. That way you don't have to have internet connection when you play it every single time. Don't know what's going on there. Hopefully there'll be an update for that in the future, but just remember that this is not a game you can just, take for a weekend on a cruise ship or something and then end up being able to play it. I mean, unless you pay for the Wi-Fi, but everybody knows cruise ship Wi-Fi is still crap, even though you have to pay for it. So that pretty much sums up my cons. Let's go with my final thoughts. All right, so My Father's Work, still a great game. I look forward to playing it over and over again. If I ever have a 6-hour chunk of time and a good group of readers with me to play it. Very thematic. I prefer, as like a house rule, to like dress up and do voices when you read, just to make it a little bit more fun, because it is, like I said, more than 50% story driven. So if you can't get entertained with the story, then I don't know why you're playing this game, because the actual gameplay isn't that in-depth. Johnny Depp. For most heavy board gamers, so people that aren't very familiar with board games will enjoy this a lot if they like heavily story driven stuff where they don't have to do much thinking, and just get to sit back and relax. So overall, love the game. Definitely as a review, you know what I'm saying? Definitely don't want to smack talk anybody's game. It's a great game. I'm glad I kickstarted it and got all the fancy stuff for it. I will continue to play this, but it's probably not going to hit the table too often. Definitely in there with Twilight Imperium and like Dune. Because they are longer games, so you need people with a commitment of 6 hours at minimum. I would say block out at least 6 hours. And hopefully they upgrade the app. Definitely would want it to be able to click back if you mess up something, because I don't understand why you wouldn't have that in there. And then also to be able to narrate the whole story if you wanted to, because I don't know why they don't have that in there either. So hopefully as you unlock, because I only have a handful of games in, so hopefully when you unlock more, they'll update all the locked stories, so they're more up to date. Because they put a lot of work into this app, I will say that. Didn't say that in my pro, but it's just an overall general thing. As far as the app is concerned, they did a great job with that. We really went in depth with the app. There's a whole lot going on. A lot of sound effects, a lot of background art and everything like that. Very well written story. So the writers did a fantastic job. So hopefully they can just update those little tweaks in the app and it won't be that big of a deal. Play it more often, be great. But overall, love the game. Definitely buy it if you are a board gamer that likes a good story and likes pretty pieces. Definitely for you. If you got younger people that like to play, this is definitely a game they can play. Teens, preteens. So it's not a hard game to play. You just have to keep their attention while reading, because the story can get dry a little bit. Well written story, but can get dry. So depending on the retention level of the people you're playing with, you can bore them a little bit if you're just reading the story pretty bland. So keep that in mind as well. And always consult the app before and after each generation and before and after every round. Do not make the mistake of not being able to click back. It just ruins your whole 4-hour experience if you're in the third generation and that happens and you forgot to do something, because the map, the storybook, Village Chronicle, the village itself will change drastically in between rounds, and you will not expect it to happen. You'll be going through and don't think about it and forget to click that button. So just remember that. So other than that, that's my review for My Father's Work. This is Jim Jam JJ. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the space below, and then make sure you join our Discord. Make sure you join our Discord. I will be there. Let me know what you think on this game or any of the games that I've talked about, or anybody. I'll comment on my other channel members' stuff as well. If you ping me directly, I'll do that. I'll give you a comment. You can always hear what I'm saying. So go on to Discord, go on to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know what you think. But for now, bye-bye.